What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. Today I'm going to share with you the books that I am planning to try and read. Before I talk about the ones I have stacked here, let me talk about the ones I don't have a physical copy of because I will forget and then I'll feel bad. First up on the list is Kill Creek by Scott Thomas. This book has been on my TBR for quite a while. Lots of people have talked about it. I've seen a lot of buzz, but recently I was watching an interview over on Brad Proctor's channel. One of the authors on the panel, Robert Atone, was talking about Kill Creek and how it is the best haunted house story he's read over the last 20 years. I had to have it. I had to read it. That one recommendation shot it to the top of my TBR, and let's just say I have a really great idea for a video around that one. Stay tuned for that. Next on the trusty list will be an ARC that I was approved for called Waking Ursa Minor by Helen Rye Peterson. I may have pronounced the last name incorrectly, but this is one that someone in my Discord saw on her Instagram. She shared it in Discord. A ton of us applied for it, got approved, so it's actually turned into a group read on my Discord. So if you by chance were approved for it and you want to join us as we read through it, the link is in the description down below. Another book that I was sent an e-copy of to read for review is Nana by Mark Taus. I desperately hope I am not pronouncing anyone's names incorrectly. This one I feel like most of you have probably seen the cover floating around on Twitter or Instagram. It's got the old lady that looks like she's melting, sort of. This one really interests me because it seems to be a scary story about a grandma. Then moving into my final Kindle read, I think is the only other one that's gonna be on the Kindle, is Brazel Broketail by Christopher Rowley. I think it is book 1 in a 7-book series. It's a much older series. It is my patron pick of the month. My patron Stardre was chosen to pick me a book, and this was a series that was read as a child that they have reread and loved, and so now I'm going to get to experience a much loved series that they chose for me, so I'm really looking forward to it. All of the books are included in my Kindle Unlimited subscription, so I am stoked. Cannot wait to experience that. And it's a new month. That means it will be time to read our next essay by Joan Didion. We are reading the nonfiction works by this author. It's a read-along hosted by Kate from the Literary Apothecary. The next essay is Comrade Lasky, CP USA. Sounds military-ish to me. Looking forward to seeing what that one is all about. And then piggybacking off of the essay with the rest of the shorter literature I'll be reading, I do believe we will be wrapping up the rest of Stephen King's Night Shift collection. Jake over at The Bookish Drummer is hosting a Stephen King short story read-along. We're about to knock out the rest of Night Shift in the month of February. And then I am planning, we'll see how it goes, I want to read the 2 short stories that follow along in the world of Elantris. I believe it is called The Emperor's Soul and The Hope of Elantris. Both are included in the Arcanum Unbounded. But I'm going to start my Mistborn journey soon, and so I want to get those 2 short stories read because I know they come before that time frame. And I have heard that The Emperor's Soul is just hands down one of the most favorite reads of folks that love the Cosmere. And since I mentioned 2 fantasy short stories, I'm going to use that to segue into what I plan to read for the February Fantasy Stories event created by the Bookish Bryants. I will have that channel and the announcement video linked below if you guys would like to check that out and join. The focus of February Fantasy Stories, or FFS for short, the focus is to read short fiction of the fantasy genre, meaning novellas, 250 pages or shorter, and short stories. And just to make it a little more interesting, each week will have a different theme. The theme for week 1 is classic fantasy or anything written before 1971. For that theme, I found a collection at my library called Classic Science Fiction and Fantasy Stories. All of the authors that were listed were well before 1971. I've not read any of these particular short stories, so I'm looking forward to checking some of those out. And that collection was edited by Stephen Brennan. I'm gonna have all of these titles linked in the description box down below for you guys if you want to check them out, see if you would like to read them for February fantasy stories, or maybe use them as a guide to help you pick something else if those don't suit your fancy. Week 2 is Sword and Sorcery. For this particular theme, I went to Twitter for help and asked for recommendations, and one of my friends recommended to me Elementals by Stuart Sims. So that's the collection I'm going to read for this particular week. Week 3 is going to be dark fantasy. That is one of my favorite types of fantasy to read. Again, I went to Twitter for help. My buddy Steve from Steve Talks About Books and Stuff linked a collection called Blackest Spells that was edited by C.T. Phipps. Steve said he's had that one on his TBR for a while. Steve and I have read a lot of books in common that we have both really enjoyed, so I felt really confident if this book was on his radar, it needed to be on mine too, so that's how that one got chosen. And then the 4th week is urban fantasy, another favorite type of fantasy for me. And since I have never finished reading Side Jobs by Jim Butcher, Side Jobs is a collection of short stories that go along with Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files. I've never read all of them. I've read a few of them. I haven't finished, and depending on how many I have left in that one to finish, I can always move on to the other one, Briefcases. I know. You guys are like, you're a Dresden fan and you've never read the short stories. Well, not all of them. It's okay, I promise. And I believe that will wrap up all of my short literature I'm planning to read this month. Next, I am going to be starting The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I have the Vintage Classics edition because I really like the 2 translators that did this one for me. They have done several of the other Russian authors, Russian literature I've read. I just really like how they do it. It just flows better to me. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. The Idiot is a read-along. So if you've never read it and you want to read it and you want to do it with a group, now is a great time. It's going to be over 2 months. We're going to start in February, continue through March. There will be a kickoff live stream on this channel February 3rd at 7 p.m. Come on by, meet the co-host, see if The Idiot is something you might be interested in reading if you're on the fence, you're not sure. But the co-host will be myself, the Codex Cantina, Christy Lewis, and Pay from the channel Attention. Very excited. I can't wait. I am curious to see if this will be the book that makes me fall in love with Fyodor Dostoevsky. I don't know. We'll see. I am extremely excited for this one. This is You Don't Know Us Negroes and Other Essays that were written by Zora Neale Hurston, all together in one collection. This is part of the unofficial read-along that She Was Only Evie and I have had going ever since we fell in love with Zora Neale Hurston last year. Zora Neale Hurston and Stephen Graham Jones. Pretty much we are reading everything by these 2 authors that's continuing over into 2022. If you're reading those authors or you want to read those authors, check the description box down below for my Discord. I'll also link Evie's Discord. You're going to find chat channels for all of their works. My Discord has all the Zora Neale Hurston. Evie's Discord has all of the Stephen Graham Jones. Huge thank you to Evie. She actually gifted me this collection. The day that it came out, on release day, it arrived, and it was just beautiful. And speaking of Evie, let's just keep talking about her. The next book that I will be reading is The Winter of the Witch, the 3rd book in the Winternight trilogy by Catherine Arden. This is a read-along that is hosted by Evie on her channel. She Was Only Evie. Again, that Discord information will be down in the description box below. This has been one of the best trilogies I've read. I absolutely love it. I can't wait to read the conclusion, but then again, I'm also sad that I'm going to be at the end. I have a feeling this is going to be an annual reread for me every year. I just have that feeling. Now, the last 2 books are optional. I want to make sure I get my review reads done. I want to get my arcs done. I want to get my commitments to read-alongs done. And then if I finish those, I will continue my journey through the Realm of the Elderlings with Royal Assassin. I have just absolutely adored my reread of Assassin's Apprentice in January. Now, if I finish all of that, I'm going to continue the read along through the Green Writer series with First Writer's Call. This read along is hosted by Feeny Reads. Again, down in the description box, you're going to find the link to the announcement video. These, from what I hear from people who have already mowed through the first one, are really fast reads. So if you missed out joining last month, the month of January, I feel like you could catch up really quick if that is something that interests you. And that's it. Like, there is nothing else I'm going to add to the list. I did actually have a longer list, but one of my intentions this year is to quit piling up huge TBRs, and I'm going to just set a certain number that are guaranteed going to get read, and then I'm going to add a couple of maybes in there, and then keep it at that. So that is something I'm working on, and I just want to slow down and read more methodically. I've gotten to where I'm looking more into what I'm reading, just being more present in the book, if that makes any sense. Guys, that's it. That's it from me on my February TBR. Do you see any of your favorites? Are there any you're interested in reading with me or with any of the read-alongs? Don't forget, all of the host information is going to be in that description box. I look forward to hearing from you in the comments about what you're excited to read in February. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.